All right. Hello, everyone. Are you stressed? Do you know that it is causing you not to feel as well as you should? Or do you feel like it's contributing to some of your health challenges? Well, if that is the case, you are correct. Stress is a big factor.
I'm stressed about this weather.
You stress
It's
it.
making me walk back and forth. It's too cold.
It's too cold.
Why is it so cold
It is cold.
in Southwest Florida?
It's cold everywhere, but we're not used to it here.
Southwest Florida.
It actually snowed.
It didn't snow here.
Tampa,
Thankfully,
which is close.
yeah, it snowed about 2 hours away, but it's like we're not used to this. I'm from up north, so you would think that we'd be used to it, but no. I packed away all of my heavy sweaters, and they're somewhere in the attic.
Yeah.
But it's cold, so sorry if I'm distracting.
Well, that's a source of stress because we're not expecting it to be, right?
Yeah, it's mental and physical stress.
Exactly. So why is it that stress is such a big problem? Why, because everyone knows, well, maybe not everyone, but I think most people know that stress is definitely a big factor that's slowly killing people. We know that it can cause heart attacks. We know it can cause strokes. We know it can cause blood pressure to go up, right? So we also know that stress can affect the digestive system. We know it can cause ulcers. Literally, it can cause you to bleed internally. It's a big problem.
And aren't there different types of stress?
There's different types of stress. Most people, when they think of stress, they think of emotional stress, right?
Yeah.
But there's also physical stress. If you get in a car accident, if you have surgery, if you are cold, that's a physical stress. That's a physical and mental stress. But stress, physical stress is a big one, but chemical stress. And chemical stress, I don't think that we really realize how much chemical stress that we're under. The toxins that are in our food, the pesticides, the herbicides, the GMOs, the stuff that's in the environment, whether it's mold or environmental toxins from what they're spraying on, outside in the landscaping, we're surrounded. The stuff that we're putting on our skin, those are chemical stressors. Medications are chemical stressors, and that's a big one. And then we have emotional stress, and so all three, they're all interchangeable, right? Because if you're under physical stress, it can cause emotional stress.
Right.
If you're under chemical stress, it can cause emotional stress. Emotional stress can cause physical stress because it releases the stress hormones and it affects your biochemistry. It affects you physically.
Right.
So they all kind of affect each other. And we think about, when we think about stress, we typically will think about emotional stress because we know kind of what to do with physical stress. If you break your ankle or strain, physical therapy, or rehab, whatever. We know, we kind of know what to do with that. Chemical stress, if we know that we have chemical stress, okay, well, we got to stop the poisons, right?
Or avoid certain things.
Detox the body, things of that nature. But emotional stress, I feel like that's the silent killer that people aren't really addressing.
Yeah.
And
I don't think that most people are even aware that they are stressed sometimes because it's become the norm. Like if you've been living in flight or flight, right? If you've been living in fight or flight for years, then it's just like some physical pain, right? You're just used to it and you're just living with it, so it's become a part of you.
It's become your norm.
Yeah, it's become your norm.
Yeah.
So if you have stressful situations that are occurring and it's your norm, then you're just gonna accept it and then just keep on going without even feeling like you have to address it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if you know what fight or flight is. Most people have heard of fight or flight, but we'll explain that. But I don't want to just explain it. I want to actually give you some things that you can do, that like quick things that you can do to get yourself out of fight or flight, because fight or flight is in the moment, even though it feels like you're in it all the time. Okay, so let's understand what fight or flight is. So we have a stress response that all of us have that's meant to save our life. It's a life-saving mechanism. The challenge nowadays is that our lives are usually not in danger. It's not like it was. We're built for survival, and so our ancestors, we had to fight and work for our food. We had to fight for survival. We had animals and villages and tribes, that we were under attack. And so we have to have this to survive, right? Animals have it, to survive. So nowadays, we're not under attack. The saber-toothed tiger doesn't exist, right? We're not having as many natural disasters that or either we're prepared for them. We see them coming. We have the technology. So our lives aren't in danger as much as before, but our bodies are still built for that. So what happens is when you are running for your life or you're trying to fight, right? Something's chasing you. We need certain things to happen. We need the blood pressure to rise, to shunt blood to our arms or our legs so we can run or fight, right? We need our hormones to shift because you don't want to bring offspring into a dangerous environment. Digestion shuts down because if you're running for your life or you're trying to fight, you ain't got time to go to the bathroom, right? Yeah. So all of these things, right? The immune system, there's energy that it shunts away from the immune system because we need the energy to survive in that moment. So all that's great if it's happening in the moment to help you survive. But nowadays, we are stressed about everyday life, and our brain doesn't know the difference between, is it life or death, or is it just everyday life?
Yeah, because the feeling is still the same.
The feeling is the same. So when something happens that upsets you, or you're in traffic and you're tense, or you're in arguments every other day with a significant other, a spouse, or or at work, right? You're stressed at work. Mm-hmm. All of these things, you're in this fight or flight. Your brain feels like it's in danger. Now, every day, blood pressure's sky high, the digestion's off, your immune system is weak, and it's slowly killing us. That's what's happening. And so we have to address it.
I have a perfect example of that actually happened recently. My mom was having an outpatient procedure, and I took her to the outpatient procedure, and on our way there was so much traffic, and we couldn't bypass it, so we had to wait, and we were about an hour late for her pre-op. And when we got to her pre-op and they did all of the vital signs, her blood pressure was sky high, her heart rate was sky high. And they're like, well, what's going on? Can you calm down? They were trying to figure it out. And the reason was because in that moment, she was thinking that she was going to miss her pre-op, and then that would lead to her not having the procedure, and then it would throw everything off. And, so she was making that scenario up in her mind, which caused her body to react in that stressful manner. And so it caused all of her vitals to go haywire.
Yeah. And
so
they
that's
could
a
see
perfect
it.
example.
Right, and they could see it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's what was happening.
And we make it all up. It's the stress is the meaning. Where does the stress come from? It's basically the difference between what our expectations are and what our perceived reality is. The space in between the two, that is the stress. That equals the stress, right? So we have to address that gap. So how do we address the gap? Either we adjust what our expectations are, bring those expectations down, or we have to change our perceived reality and recognize that we're actually closer to our expectations, or we do both. A perfect example of this is if someone says, hey, I'm gonna give you $100 tomorrow. You weren't expecting it, they don't owe it to you or whatever. I'm gonna give you $100 tomorrow. And okay, great. Expectation is they're gonna give me $100 tomorrow. They show up and they give you $5. It's like, well, what the hell? You know, you said you were gonna give me 100, right? Expectations here, they give you $5, now you're stressed.
Right.
But you know,
You probably already spent it. In
Yeah,
your mind.
exactly.
You probably already knew what you were going to do with the $100.
despite the fact that you're $5 richer than you were
Yeah.
the previous day, you're stressed because of the expectation. Now, if that person didn't tell you that they were going to give you the $100, but they just showed up and they just gave you five,
Yeah.
oh, now, right? Expectation is no one's giving me any money, and then the perceived reality is someone gave me $5. Now you're elated.
Now you get
Same
gratitude.
Right, the same result, different expectations. And so if you think about the things that are stressing you in your life, it's the expectations that you have and the perceived reality. You know, now some of you may be saying, well, no, you don't know my husband, or you don't know my wife. They drive me crazy, and that is real. I know this, right?
That's real.
But what's happening is even that situation, right? If you expect something and it doesn't happen, then you're going to be disappointed every time, right? So, like, for instance, if you expect me to
Stay up
stay up,
a dog Hershey.
right, stay up late, period. Oh, that's a very good example. So let me tell you this. My wife would get upset at me for going to sleep. She's like, why, you sleep all the time. I'm like, well, first of all,
Well, wait, you have to put it into context.
All
I
right.
don't just get upset that you go to sleep.
that's my interpretation.
That's your story.
That's my story.
That's your story.
Like, how you gonna get upset for me to?
I get upset if you go to sleep so early that we don't even get a chance to talk to each other. Like I would literally have things to tell you and not be able to tell you because you're sleeping. And then knowing me, I would forget to tell you so that you would never know.
Yes. So
That is why.
That is why I go to sleep. If my goal is to go to sleep at 9:30, that's my goal. Typically, it's like 10:30. Kashima goes to sleep at 11 to 12. So there's this. What time do you normally go to sleep?
Okay, the timing is off. Sorry. Let me just I have to correct it a little bit. Okay. You go to sleep between 8:30 and 9, and I go to sleep between 10:30 and 11.
I have an Aura ring that I will publish all of the times that the average time that I go to sleep. It shows you the average time I go to sleep. You know what it says? Over a year's time. You know what it says? My average time?
What time?
10:30. I will pull it up. I'll show it to you. 10:30.
How is that even possible?
Because in your head, if I go to bed at 9:30, oh my God, he went to bed at 8:30. 10:30 is the
Does it
average.
publish the time that you actually go to bed or you fall asleep?
Well, when I fall asleep,
Okay, but then if you go to sleep
How
and
long
you're
does it
in
take
bed
me?
on your phone. No, wait. If you go to bed and you're on your phone, I don't know that you're not sleeping.
so first of all, I'm not on my phone when I go to bed.
Oh.
Typically, occasionally. So if I am asleep, then you can't talk to me. If I'm awake, you can. So the average time I go
But
to
if
bed
you take
is 10:30.
off, I don't.
The average time I go to
You're
sleep.
sleeping.
Well, your assumptions are the problem. That's what we're talking about, right? The assumptions that don't match reality. So I go to sleep. My Aura ring tells me average 10:30. That means sometimes I go to bed later. Sometimes I go to bed right earlier. So your expectation is I stay up with you so that we can talk. That's your expectations. The reality is I go to sleep, right? And that is what stresses you. It's the difference between the two. My expectation is that I get enough sleep where my body repairs, my hormones get balanced, and my Oura ring says you got 80% or above, right? I'm trying to hit a certain number.
That's okay. Now that is more the reason. It's about you focusing on the number that you want to obtain, the actual, amount of hours that you want to be asleep and all of that.
Okay.
What is going on?
It's the pool guy.
Oh,
So,
the dogs are stressed.
yeah, right. The dog's like, their expectation is there's no one on the lanai, and
There's
now.
no one that should be outside.
Right, there's no one that should be outside, and now there's someone outside, and so in their head, oh, danger, they're trying to attack. He has this long pole, they're gonna kill all of us. I must protect the house. They're stressed. So, but the great thing is, once they know that they're safe, they're not carrying this story on every single day like other people here. I'm not gonna mention no names. But anyway, so yes, I have goals that I'm trying to meet that is going to prolong my life, and it's going to help me not only live longer, but live healthier, right? So that is my goal, and that's my expectation. And so if I don't hit my expectation, then the difference is now I'm stressed, right? So we have these different expectations. So if you have someone that you live with, or that you coexist, or a business partner, whatever, get on the same page to be able to have the same expectations, so that way you're not always like this. So now that you understand what my expectations are, and now that I understand it really has nothing to do with me sleeping, it has everything to do with communication. So what Kashima's expectation is, we need time to communicate, and we don't have enough time to communicate. Once that's solved, her expectations are met, and then she's not as upset when I go to sleep. My expectation is I want to get the amount of sleep that I need to be healthy. Once that expectation is met, then I'm good. So now we can actually accomplish both things. This, us doing this is one of those ways to do that, and we're good. So that's how to change your expectation, or keep it the same, but change the perceived reality. So the perceived reality for Kashima is, I want more quality time, I want more communication, and so then we figure out how to get up there, right? And mine is, I want to be healthy by getting enough sleep. So how do we get up there? There it is. How's that? Does that work?
Yes, you recovered very well.
I recovered very well.
Has it been working?
I think
far?
so.
Do I bother you when you're
No.
sleeping? Do I get upset when you go
Nope.
to sleep? Then it's working.
There it is. See that? My theory is correct. So if you want to decrease your stress, look at what are your expectations that's not being met, because I can promise you there's some expectations that are not being met. Where's your perceived reality? And how can you decrease the gap between the two? If the first answer is I don't know, then ask yourself, if I did know, what would it be? And keep asking yourself that question until you can come up with an answer, a solution, and I can promise you it will change your stress levels dramatically.
And
right?
it doesn't have to be like the first solution that comes to mind.
There's multiple
You can
solutions.
try, exactly, and you can try different things until you land on something that resonates with you, that you're gonna, be consistent with, that's gonna actually work.
Absolutely. Hope this was helpful, everyone. Type in the comments if this was helpful. If you have any questions that you want us to address in future videos, just let us know. Take care, everybody.
Bye.